Okay, so here we are back to the same bunch of countries, A, B and C. But this time around we were going to talk about the second most popular way that governments control trade in and out of the countries, which would be tariffs. Country B, unfortunately for it, won't be actually being used in this example. It's somewhere we probably go on holidays. So going back to the previous example, and still using phones, companies in country A can make them for €500, companies in country C can make them for 250. In the original example, with no government interference whatsoever, everybody buys country C's phones, country C exports them everywhere, they all import them from C. Now say country A wants to change it. In the previous example we've seen how subsidies work, but say country A doesn't have enough money, so they haven't got very much money, so they can't really afford to go subsidising the companies in their country. So how do they get to compete with country C? Well, what they normally do is they put a special tax rate on phones coming in from country C, called a tariff or a duty. It is basically makes the goods from country C much more expensive because it will cost the people in country A the original €250 plus a new €250, a new tax or a new duty of €250 on the price, bringing it to €500, and therefore companies in country A can now compete with companies on country C in just price alone, because the phones cost the same amount of each other, and you can basically compare it, or people will choose their phones based on other reasons such as fancy casing or quality or branding. A protective tariff is one where country A would put the tax as being a lot more than bringing it up to equality. Say for example they put a tax of €300 onto it. So the tax of €300 would make this phone suddenly cost $550, which is more expensive than the phone in country A. Therefore everyone in country A will buy the phone in country A, and country C suddenly doesn't sell any more phones. So after this slide, take a moment to fill out question sheet 1, and in this it'll ask you to imagine that the product isn't a phone but grain for wheat, and the country A is Ireland and country C is West Africa, which is way better at producing cheaper grain, but its government is very, very poor. So what issues can you foresee if Ireland was to introduce subsidies for the Irish grain industry or protective tariffs on the grain from West Africa?